Welcome to another episode of The Marathon, where today we'll be diving into one of the most important parts of my off-season training, the weight room. I'll walk you through a full week of lifting, show you my exercises, and explain how each one helps me perform at a high level on the court. Whether you're a hooper or just somebody looking to get stronger, this one's for you. So first, before we get into this video, I want to give you a little breakdown of how my off-season training actually split up. I usually use a 5-day split where on day one, I'm mainly lower body focused, which I call legs. Second day, it's pulling motions. Third day, it's pushing motions. Fourth day is a second leg day because legs or lower body is so important for us basketball players. And then the fifth day is where it really depends. Towards the end of my off season, I like to sprinkle in a little bit of conditioning and some mobility work, which you will see in this week. But early in the off season, I like to do a second push or pull day, depending on how I feel that week. So yeah, there you go. That's how my week is split up. You will see my off-season lifts being split up into 4 categories, starting with plyometrics. Plyometrics are fast, explosive movements that use the stretch and shortening cycle, like jumping, bounding, or clap push-ups. The purpose of these exercises are for your body to produce force quickly. You gotta think of it as teaching your muscles and tendons of acting like springs. The next category is maximal strength. This is basically the maximum amount of force your muscles can produce in a single effort. The purpose of this is building your absolute strength foundation. You gotta think of it of how strong you are at your complete limit. So basically super low reps. The next category is power. This is basically strength expressed quickly. It's force times speed. The reason I do this is because it helps in sports where you need to move heavy things fast or jump high, explosive movements. You gotta think of it in a way of turning strength into explosiveness. And then my last category is hypertrophy. This is basically where you're increasing the muscle size. I know you've heard this before, you gotta pass the eye test, and this is basically what helps you do that. It's higher rep ranges, usually between 8 and 12, and you really gotta think of it as building bigger muscles, not really necessarily getting stronger or faster. That's not the main goal of this, just basically building muscle mass. So yeah, I hope this was clear, and now let's get back to the video and day one. Just like any other lifting day, leg day starts with a coffee to get ready to get some work in. First, I go to a general warm-up to get the body all ready and primed for the first movements of the day. I stretch, try to get loose and warm. After this warm-up, it's straight into skips, where the goal is to be as explosive as possible and put as much force into the ground while exploding up or to the side. I do a couple variations of these. Here, I'm going into the double, where it's 2 ground contacts before the switch, and then my least favorite of them all, the triple. This might look easy, but it's far from it. First plyometric exercise are drop jumps. It's not just about jumping, it's about the transition from landing into jumping. Basically, getting better at that second jump. That's so important in basketball. Next, I got ice skater jumps. It's about the explosive power laterally from left to right. Next, I'm getting ready for my bearable jump squats. This is the next section of my workout, which is power, where I'm trying to move a moderate weight at the fastest speed possible. Because remember, power is speed times force. As you can see, my focus is on short ground contact and exploding up with the weight that's on the bar. That's the whole point of this exercise. This transfers directly to vertical jump and first step quickness. That gets us to the next section, maximal strength. Strength is the foundation for all other qualities. Power, speed, endurance. Heavy squats help my body produce force, which then carries over when I need to sprint, jump, or fight through contact. To finish up, our last block is hypertrophy. Usually I like doing single leg extensions, but they didn't have it at this facility, so you gotta use what's available to you. Next, one of my favorites, Bulgarian split squats. These will really test you. Single leg work is a non-negotiable for hoopers. Every jump, every sprint, every cut starts from one leg. So working on that is key. We can't forget about the hamstrings. My exercise of choice is Nordics. It's not easy doing them by yourself, but I was able to improvise a little bit and use YouTube as a tool to wrap this band around the rack and being able to do it by myself. We actually ended up working out pretty well. As hoopers, we live on our toes. Strong calves equals strong push-offs, higher jumps, and fewer ankle injuries. These are essential for us. And you can't forget about the toe raises. They strengthen the front of my shins, which helps me stop quicker and prevent shin splints. And that's leg day all wrapped up. Day 2 is pull day, which in my opinion is the hardest day of them all. These pull days really get the energy out of me, and I'm usually dead after this. So I'll start with some leg swings to get loose, front and sideways. Then, we right away get into our first plyometric exercise, which are long jumps. I put the cone at my heels and try to beat that distance every rep. As you can see on the second rep, I got a little bit further. And the third rep, even a little bit further. Then I did one more for good measure, and I beat it again. So I was really happy with the result. The first power exercise is usually hex bar jumps. But again, there's no hex bar at this facility, so I had to improvise with the kettlebells. For today's maximal strength exercise, I usually do hex bar deadlifts. But as I just said, there's no hex bar at this facility. So regular deadlifts it is. Load up the bar for my top set and get some chalk on the hands. And here we go. As you can see, it's very heavyweight, low rep, and it takes everything out of me to get 3 reps out. I was really happy with the result of deadlifting 385 pounds. And as I said before, on pull day, I'm cooked. Do you guys know this trick of putting the little plate underneath the plates and unloading the bar this way? Somebody told me about this and I never went back. So basically, you unload one side and then you can just lift up the bar and pull it out of the plates. This is the easiest way to unload the bar when there's a bunch of weight on there. For hypertrophy work today, we start off with weighted pull-ups. A couple years ago, I wasn't even able to do one bodyweight pull-up. So I'm extremely happy with the result of the progress I've made over the last couple of years. I'm repping out 3 reps weighted. To finish off my last set, I like to do an AMRAP, meaning as many reps as possible with my own body weight. And as you can tell here, I got 9 reps. Wow. After a quick vibe break, we keep going with the kettlebell rows. Really try to use the full range of motion while doing these. We keep it pushing with pull downs. This setup was a little bit funny. I've never seen it before, but it did the job. On the floor, I was able to get these sets in of heavy pull downs. Today, to finish up, we hit these IYTs that are really challenging. Definitely if you pick the right weight. Towards the end, as you can see in this clip, I was cooked and happy that these were done. Another great day of work done in the weight room, ready for day 3. If I'm being completely honest, push days are definitely my favorite days. Everybody that goes to the gym knows that upper body lifts are way more fun than lower body. To start off, we're getting everything loose with these bands. The shoulders all loose for all the pushing motions that are about to happen. After a quick check of what we got, the first plyometric exercises are explosive push-ups. There's a couple variations of these. Today, we're using the boxes. Next, we go into our first power exercise of the day, which are horizontal med ball throws. The next power exercise are dumbbell snatches. This is all about transitioning the speed from lower body to upper body and being as explosive as possible with the weights. Now we're speaking my language, getting everything set up for bench press, my favorite exercise of them all. First set, I just like to do with the bar and increasingly add weight. From the moment I feel like it's a working set, I'll do 4 sets. Here, I'm getting ready for my top set, 295 pounds today. I'm trying to go for 3 reps here, no spotter in sight. I actually purposefully don't add any clips on the sides, so I don't have to eat the bar if I would get stuck, and I can just get the plates off to the side. Not today though. As you can tell, I'm very happy with this lift. My top set today actually ended up being my 3rd set, so I still have 1 set left. I did a back down, which basically means less weight, but as you can tell, I was very fatigued at this point, so this was a very hard one. Next on the menu are overhead presses with the barbell. First set went smooth, so I decided to add some extra weight, and actually ended up failing on the 3rd rep, but I was like, there's no way I can't do this weight. So I took my rest and ended up getting it done the next set. As our hypertrophy work today, we've got incline dumbbell presses. And I always try to push myself in these. Next are dumbbell shoulder presses to build the shoulders. And to finish up, we gotta hit the bicep curl to look good on the beach. Warm-up on this day is exactly the same as leg day 1, so I won't be showing that again. So we right away get going with weighted pogos to work on the tightness of the ankles and getting off the ground quick. Next, we got single leg drop jumps, where I'm really trying to explode up and stick the landing on one foot. Next, as you know by now, we got power, which are hang cleans today. One of my least favorite exercises. For whatever reason, it really makes me doubt myself. First set, I'm good. So I add a little donut. And then the doubt starts creeping in. I started dropping the weight between every single rep for the grip to be better, and ended up completing this set, which as you can tell, I was really happy about.
Oh, let's go!
Straight into maximal strength, front squats today. Just a little different squat variation, very heavy, but really good for you. We keep it pushing with our hypertrophy work. Today, side lunges. These are real killers. Definitely at this rep range, but the work's gotta be done. So we get it done. Single leg RDLs are next on the menu to build hamstring strength and make them bulletproof. And just like that, we go straight into calf raises and toe raises for the calves and shin health. And that's another leg day done. As I said earlier in the video, the 5th day depends on where I am in my off-season training. As now, it's the last couple of weeks before going back overseas, I'm trying to ramp up this conditioning again and mobility after a rigorous off-season, just getting the back loose, the hips loose, and getting everything feeling the best it can after a really hard week of work. We're starting on the Echo bike. I love this because it's low impact on the joints, but the power output is crazy. Starting off with 5 minutes of warm-up, and then I hit the 10-second all-out sprint and recover for the 50 seconds, repeating this 10 times, over and over and over again. The goal here is peak power and fast recovery. I'm trying to hit around 1,000 watts and hold at least 85% of that across each sprint. Next up, the rower. This one builds endurance and lights up the core and hips, which is huge. First, I'll go for 20 seconds on and 40 seconds off for 10 rounds. Big powerful pulls on a higher setting. Then, I'll hit 4 rounds of 250 meters with 90 seconds of rest. The goal is to stay under 60 seconds with each round, pushing that gain intensity. Had to get a quick water break and hydrate, as hydration is so important. And finally, finish off on a ski. This total body high intensity work, plus it saves the legs while still crushing the lungs. I'll run Tabata intervals, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 8 rounds. Going full sprint, pull downs, 2 to 3 sets with full rest in between. This one builds that upper body lactic threshold so I can keep fighting, then gain where fatigue sets in.